In the small town of Stevensville, Michigan, with a population of 1,142, there's a school where putting on a team uniform means more than just a 4-year pastime. It means a commitment to a history and tradition as old as the school itself. From basketball to cross country and baseball to softball, the Lakeshore Lancers have continuously dominated the SMAC conference for many years, but one team stood out: baseball. Nowadays, Lakeshore has a reputation for excellence and consistency in athletics, but that wasn't always the case. The school was founded in 1957, and all the way up to the 1990s, the boys' athletics for Lakeshore had never won a state championship. It was that 1990s team that put Lakeshore on the map.
To Lakeshore. I want to move into the area. They're looking at schools like Lakeshore. They're looking at St. Joe. They're looking at Bridgman. They're looking at Berrien Springs. And they're trying to make a choice as a family. We're moving to Southwest Michigan. We've got a job here. Now where do we put our kids in school? And so when I go on a tour of the facility, and we walk and we talk, and we happen to walk by where those two state title trophies are sitting in the trophy case, that's something I can say that, look, do you want to take your kids here and they happen to be an athlete of any sort? Our athletic programs are second to none, because right next to those 2 state championship trophies for baseball, you've got a lot of other hardware that our athletes have brought home that show that not only are we grounded in tradition, but a tradition of being committed to excellence.
This helped spark a change in Lancer athletics for the following 2 decades and beyond. Experienced coaches, along with a new emphasis on youth programs, helped create a winning culture for Lancer baseball as a whole. With some very generous donations from people like Bob Cohn and multiple sponsors from local businesses, the Lakeshore Youth Baseball Softball Association erected one of the nicest youth ballparks in the state of Michigan. With recreational baseball now available at every level, high school coaches were sure to find their next young star. The majority of the Lancer players for the 2017-2018 teams were brought up through the system and by the entire community. So when the Lancers brought back those state titles, the entire community had something to be proud of. The 2017 championship came as a shock to the community. It had been 27 years since Lakeshore baseball had won a state championship, yet they defied all the odds to take the title. Then in 2018, after a deceptively average season, the Lancers went back-to-back. It all started in 1990, when Lakeshore High School won the state championship for the first time in school history.
That probably was a season that evolved beginning back several years before that, probably in 1988.
So Adler had his fist of goals. I remember the first practice. Right, it was.
We had morning practices. Remember at the middle school?
6
early in the
a.m.
morning, 6 a.m.
6 a.m. practice.
We came in 6 o'clock in the mornings. We had to use the middle school gym. They just had one common goal, and that's that we were going to win a state championship. We had a fist of goals, and at the bottom of that list was that we were going to win a state championship.
Win the St. Joe tournament. It was win the Kalamazoo tournament, be ranked, win the conference, and be in the Final Four. Right to this day, you can still rip those off.
The team had high hopes coming into the year with their returning star players, Jason Schlute, Joel Frakes, and Corey Kugel. Head coach Steve Adler developed a plan in 1988 to pull the sophomores up to the varsity level because he knew there was something special.
When the kids that ended up on the state championship team were actually sophomores, we realized that we didn't have a great team going into that season, and we decided we might as well play the young kids and get them ready.
The first game of the year came as a shock. They played at St. Joe on an incredibly cold day and lost by 1 run.
We went into the season, the first game of the year, playing St. Joe. At St. Joe, it was about 35 degrees, maybe 36, 37. Very, very cold day. And our best pitcher, Jason Schlute, who had pitched for the last 2 years, a lefty who ended up being drafted by the Padres and went all the way through to the AAA with the Padres. So obviously he was a very talented pitcher, was pitching against their kid, a kid named Gary Layton, and we knew this was going to be a very good game. Well, St. Joe beat us. I think it was 2-1 or 3-2 on that cold game, and our kids were devastated.
From here on out, there was nothing that was going to stop them from winning.
We just thought the season was going to get off to a better start than it did, and the kids had a sense of dedication that I've never seen in a group of kids that I've been associated with. And I've coached football, basketball, baseball for 40 years here at Lakeshore, and I saw in that group a switch went on, and these kids were saying, "Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna overcome this."
The district semifinal game against Coloma on the bus ride out to Dowagiac. You remember what he said? He goes, "Well, we just had the all district or the conference meet last night. There was one thing that the Coloma coach said to us that really stuck out. He said they think they have a chance against us because we can't hit." The whole team just immediately started to tense up, like, "Oh, we can't hit, huh?"
We hit, I think, 3 or 4 home runs, and I think 3 of them were in a row. Boom, boom, boom.
Some of us stood up on the front step yelling at the Coloma dugout, "We can't hit, can we? So we can't hit." Adler, I don't know that the guy actually said that. I think Adler was just trying to spark us up. Adler's in the third base coach's box going, calm down, guys. Calm down. We're like, "No." So, I mean, literally, all it took was a little spark.
And we won that game, and we took all that momentum into the finals. Of course, Dowagiac won their game big time, and setting up this classic game for the district finals. Now, this was a game that is going to have 2 of the best pitchers in the state of Michigan, if not the whole country, pitching against each other. Jason Schlutt from Lakeshore, a great left-handed pitcher, and Tobin from Dowagiac, a great right-handed pitcher. And there were scouts from all over, from college and pro, there to see that game. And that game ended up being what was probably the state championship game. We jumped out to a lead.
They had a kid, man or whatever, he got drafted by the Reds in the 5th round, throws 95 miles an hour. I knew because Burke was my buddy. He was a sophomore, and the first pitch of the game he hit a double off the wall, and I was like, okay, it's time to go.
I don't think anybody had hit him that well early in the year, and we jumped out in front and ended up winning that game 3-2.
We knew if we won our district, we could win state.
That was it.
Had Dowagiac beat us, they would have won state.
They finished the year with a 25-8 record, with 2 losses coming from their rivals, St. Joe. Throughout the season, the team chemistry and sense of humor played a big role in how each game was approached. They played loose, but also extremely competitive.
But we had a little doll,
Joe Boo.
Joe Boo.
We had Joe Boo. At the time, the movie Major League was out.
Frakes. He finds this. He
Had a
finds
little
this.
troll or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it was Joel's good luck charm that literally was in the dugout every single game with us.
So when we lost the game. Again, it was to St. Joe late in the year.
Grabbed Joe Boo and threw him through the pitching machine.
machine.
You're like,
I
enough
did.
of this Joe
I
Boo.
did.
Boom, there he goes.
I'll just see his hair
flying all over the place. Yeah, no more Joe Boo. So nice job, Serrano.
Yeah, that was funny.
That
You're
was
right.
good.
They just took with their bats to him, were picking up and hitting it. We said, we don't need you, Joe Boo, no more. Just like in the movie, decided that we didn't need superstition. But yeah, the kids, we all cut our hair real short, including me.
Used to have pretty long hair back in high school. It was cool then, all right? So we had a pretty big mullet, and Adler hated it, absolutely hated it. And he would always say, "Dorf, you're going to cut your hair?" "Nope, absolutely not, Train." He's like, "You're going to cut your hair, you're not going to play." All right. I said, "Adler, if we win a state championship, I'll let all you guys cut my hair at home plate." Oops. Didn't think we were going to actually get that far into it, but when we did, I ran like a baby, right? They had you to chase me all over the field.
Yeah.
On June 15th, Lakeshore played Parma-Jackson County Western for the semifinal game in Battle Creek at the Bombers Stadium.
We went up there
The
just
week
to
before?
go. Yeah, the week before, just to go see the field, to see what it was all about. It was fairly new at that time. They just built it because the semi-pro team played there. But for us, coming from here, and getting to play in pretty much I don't know if they were single A, whatever they
single A.
were, but a beautiful, beautiful park, big stands.
We kind of knew something big was going to happen. We
Yeah.
just felt it.
Yeah.
Right? We all kind of knew after that Dowagiac went that there wasn't anything that was going to stop us. And so,
we rolled through everything.
yeah,
after
rolled
that.
up there, and you're right though. Just kind of like making sure we weren't in awe.
Right.
We got back to play there,
Yeah.
2 weeks later.
They came back to that Friday practice, so excited. They said, Coach, there's no way we're going to lose this game. We're going to play. Everybody had heard how great Bailey Park was. It's a minor league park. We're going to be there. We're going to be there. And we worked so hard that week. The semifinals and finals were actually a little bit anticlimactic, except for the huge crowd, and it was all red, standing on the field, looking up into the crowd from third base to first base. In the bleachers, all you saw was red. That's when Lakeshore just showed up. So going into that semifinal game against Jackson, we just really took care of business, and Schlute just shut them down, and we won the semifinal.
Lakeshore beat Parma Jackson 12-6 and advanced to the championship game to play Madison Heights Bishop Foley the next day. The Lancers won 6-2 in the final for a long-awaited baseball championship.
So next night we go into the finals, and the sense of calm and the sense of confidence that the kids had, I just knew there was no way we were going to lose. I was mowing my lawn in the afternoon before coming here and taking off and going over there. And I was practicing in my mind what I was going to say to the newspapers after we won the state championship. I didn't want to sound like I was arrogant or like I knew we were going to do it, but I did. I just kind of had that feeling that this team wasn't going to beat. We put Joel Frakes up on the mound, another left-handed pitcher, just like in 2017 here with the two really good left-handed pitchers. We had our lefty Joel Frakes, a junior, to pitch. He didn't throw as hard as Schlute, but we called it the goo. He threw a curveball that he could throw for a strike any time he wanted, and he just tied them up.
Kyle calls timeout and like motions for Adler to join him at the mound, right? So in the infield, we all come to the mound. Weren't you on the mound then?
Yeah.
You were pitching.
Yeah.
So Frakes is pitching, right? Kyle calls time, motions Adler to come to the mound. So we all walk out there, and Adler, it took him like 4 hours to get to the mound, right? So finally he gets out there, and he's probably 10 feet away, and he kind of looks at Kyle. He's like, "What?" Kyle looks at him and goes, never mind. And goes back to sit behind the plate. Like, what the heck was that? Like, Adler's like, "You just burned a trip to the mound. It's the state semifinal game. What are you doing, Kyle?"
The rules at that time, you could bring back a pitcher. He could pitch a total of 30 outs, and Schlute had only pitched 21 outs, so he had 9 outs left. So pitching the next day and coming back, pitching the previous day and coming back the next day is a hard thing for a kid to do. But we knew if we wanted to win the first state championship for boys in Lakeshore's history, we probably should bring back the best pitcher in the state. So we talked to him. Jason said he was good. He was a little bit sore. We got Dan Tinky, who's still around doing all kinds of stuff for the kids, and Tinky got him down there in the back, and he's rubbing that arm down and making sure he was okay. We put Schlute in. Schlute got 9 outs. 8 of them were strikeouts. The last one was a high strike for a fastball. The crowd erupted. Our catcher, Kyle Griffiths, a sophomore, took the ball and threw the ball in his glove up in the air, and everybody's running out to the mound to celebrate this. And I'm halfway out there, and I realized the game ball.
At the end of the game, the last out, I threw the game ball, so he had to go get it. So he couldn't join the celebration. I purposely threw it to the dugout.
It was Schlute struck the guy out. It was his 170th strikeout of the year, and Kyle literally throws glove, ball, it's all gone, right? Yeah. Kyle bum rushes the middle of the field, and there's Adler. I get the ball. Kind of like Rizzo put it in his back pocket.
It's funny, the kids still remark about it. That was in the early days of Lakeshore when nobody had ever done that for boys in the history of Lakeshore. And we didn't ride a Greyhound over to Battle Creek back. They put us on a regular bus, on one of the school buses, and with one of the ladies' school bus driver who was driving slow, and she was kind of weaving on the road, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, didn't know if we were ever going to make it to the finals or not. And
that's when Denopolis had the chicken bone. He was eating the chicken and almost choked on it because the bus driver went to get off. Remember?
Oh gosh, he was so terrible.
Remember? He went to get off. I don't know why he was getting off, but we weren't supposed to. And we were between the off ramp and on 994, and now we're doing this. The bus is doing this, and he had to jerk the wheel back.
That's
remember?
Right.
I don't know if he fell asleep or if he just
clueless.
didn't know where to get
We almost
off.
didn't make it.
Coming back, it was even worse, and we didn't know if we were going to get back to celebrate, and everybody had gone to celebrate after, and we got on the bus to go home, and we didn't know where everybody was, and we get up here to the stoplight, and there's one police car waiting there, and he puts his signal on, it goes woo woo one time, and we come here to the school, and nobody's here. We're all by ourselves. It's about midnight, and we thought there'd be a crowd. We thought parents or fans or something. We're all by ourselves. So it was kind of we got off the bus, we just kind of looked at each other and shrugged, and oh well, we did it for each other, hugged each other, and went on our way.
Two key contributors for the state championship team were Joel Frakes and Kyle Griffiths, both on the field and at the plate. Kyle Griffiths is one of the best catchers in all of Lakeshore's history. He held the school record for 69 career stolen bases in his career, and he is second all-time for stolen bases in a single season with 35, and second in single-season triples with 5. He held an impressive .406 batting average, ranked 9th in school history for that statistic. But not everything came easy for him. At the beginning of the season, he was on junior varsity, and he was pulled up to varsity after the season started.
Kevin Langston was our catcher since we were 8 years old, right? So we all played together, with the exception of Burke and Griffiths. Kyle comes up the sophomore year, midway through. We didn't start talking to him, right? Because he displaced Kevin. So we're like, who's this young guy that thinks he's better than our guy, right? So the first 2 weeks, Kyle, we hazed the crap out of him. Probably didn't talk to him, maybe 5 words. But then he quickly figured out, all right, this guy's zipping the ball back to the pitcher faster than Franks and Schluter throwing in fastball. I was like, all right, this kid's for real, right? When you saw that guy deliver the ball to second base, literally, out of dime, I don't even move my glove. He's throwing people out left and right. It's like, all right, this guy deserves to be here. But we still had to haze him first.
He eventually replaced senior Kevin Langston at the starting catcher spot. After he graduated in 1992, Griffiths was drafted by the San Diego Padres after college baseball at Lake Michigan College, Coastal Carolina University, and Western Michigan University. He was inducted into the Lakeshore Hall of Fame in 2014. He was the 3rd starter inducted from the 1990s baseball team. Kyle also earned 6 varsity letters in his high school career. Joel Frakes started the championship game and led the team to victory. He had a perfect record with 7 wins and 0 losses. He also had an impressive .89 ERA. He was a standout in basketball and baseball. He had a stint playing at Creighton University for basketball, but later transferred to Morehead State University due to a coaching change. The 1990s Lakeshore's community and baseball teams would hope to repeat the accomplishment, but Lakeshore would not win another state championship for 27 years. 14 years ago, when Mark Nate, known as Buddha to his players, was named head coach, the team started a springtime tradition that they still do every season. When spring break rolls around, the program invites around 22 players from all levels to travel to Gulf Shores, Alabama for spring training.
Our Alabama trip started in 2010, and I had a group of parents come to me and said the kids wanted to leave for spring break, and they convinced me to take them south to Alabama, and they set up all the work, and all I had to do was coach. And I said, yeah, that's fine, I'll do it. So started driving down to Alabama. They never told me we were going to the beach. So I was thinking we're just going to a warmer climate just to practice baseball, and we had a huge agenda of baseball. And we got there, and I realized we were on the beach, so we ended up changing the agenda, made a deal with the guys. If everybody behaves, we'll practice for 2.5, 3 hours a day, and then enjoy yourselves on the beach.
There the team works every day of the week from 8 to 12 in the hot Alabama weather. Training usually starts with an hour of taking ground balls and fly balls. The 2 teams face each other in a 9-inning complete game. The Alabama trip is where the season starts.
Alabama kind of just builds team chemistry. We go down there for a week for our spring break, play about 3 hours of baseball in the morning, and then we have the rest of the day just hang out with each other. And so we all stay in rooms together. And so it really just builds team chemistry. And I would say this about any team, the greatest teams ever have great team chemistry. They all get along with each other. So if you don't have team chemistry, I honestly don't think that the team is going to perform well. And so Alabama is so important because we get down there and we get better, we get to play live and stuff like that, but it kind of just builds that team camaraderie. So that way when we get out on the field in the season, we know every single one of us has each other's back.
Lakeshore started off the 2017 season playing Penn at home, a well-established baseball team out of Indiana. The first couple of innings, no one scored, but Penn set the bar by the 4th inning after scoring 2 runs and gained another in the 5th inning. It wasn't until the 6th inning that Lakeshore scored 1 run. That's all they needed to gain the momentum, and they scored 3 runs in the 7th inning, beating Penn 4-3. The team was overjoyed, but did not focus too much on their win. They wanted to focus on their end goal, the possibility of a state championship.
We were excited. We had a lot of juniors on the team who were really talented, and so we just expected to perform. I guess from the beginning of the season, we wanted to win the state championship, but we knew that we had to take it one game at a time and really connect with each other. And then throughout the season, we kind of realized what potential we had and what we could do, so that made us really excited for the season.
Later in the season, Lakeshore played Battle Creek Central twice in one day, beating them in both games, 14-0 and 11-0. They were big wins, but again, the Lancers wanted to focus on their end goal. A huge turning point for the Lancers was their first tournament of the season. Lakeshore played the Jenison Wildcats. The game was deadlocked until the Wildcats opened the score, bagging 3 runs in the 4th. The Lancers tried to get back in it, but found it difficult to keep them off home plate as they were missing starting second baseman, senior Ryan Remus. Jenison controlled the game and defeated the Lancers 6-1. This was Lakeshore's second consecutive loss, dropping their record to 3-2 on the season.
I guess we just knew that baseball was baseball. I mean, one day a team can come out and not perform where they're set to, and another day somebody can come out, a bad team can come out and put 10 runs on the board. So that's just kind of baseball, and you have to understand that. The only time we'd ever get frustrated with ourselves is if we're making mental errors.
At this point, Lakeshore realized they need to make a change to start winning and make the possibility of a magical season a reality. Lakeshore's play built up over the seasons, taking wins from Kalamazoo Central twice, Sturgis, and Portage Central twice.
One of our favorite games was against Portage Central, and it's because we were playing against Jeff Criswell, who's now at Michigan. And, we were facing a guy who, probably be in the majors one day and is at a Big Ten school. And so we were just like, man, we want to beat this guy. And we knew, we got to get on base to do that because he throws, mid to high 90s fastball. And so we struggled a little bit at the beginning, but about the 3rd inning, we got bunts down and he couldn't field them, and we were just going crazy because this guy who's going to play in the Big Ten was making errors, and we were just getting on him. But that was a really fun game, and we ended up beating them by 8 or 9. I mean, we drilled them, and that was a really fun game. I'll remember that game for a while, and if Jeff Criswell ever makes it to the big leagues, I'm going to be able to say that we killed that team back in high school.
Near the end of the season, besides their loss to Niles, Lakeshore had won the rest of their games. They were off to the championship. The first game in the championship was against Vicksburg, a team they didn't have high hopes of beating.
Yeah, the Vicksburg playoff game was something that, it was one of those games you look back on and you just kind of see, how did you win that game? We should not have. We had a ground ball, I believe, that was hit to Trey, and there was bases loaded at the time of 1st and 3rd, and the guy at 3rd didn't run, and I don't really know why. I mean, I don't know if they knew, with Trey, he had shoulder problems, and so he wasn't really able to get everything under when he would throw the ball. So I don't know why the guy didn't run from 3rd, but the guy didn't run from 3rd, which would have won the game. I've talked about it for, last year, 2 years ago. I mean, I've still talked about that game, why that guy didn't run home from 3rd. But very happy he did stay at 3rd because we ended up winning, so that was nice. But it's one of those games, you look back and I have no idea how we won that game.
Lakeshore beat Vicksburg 4-3. The next game was against Edwardsburg, which Lakeshore beat 2-1. Lakeshore was off to the semifinals. They were getting set to play the Allendale Falcons, a team they did not play last year. Lakeshore won 3-0. Now Lakeshore was part of the Final Four with Bay City, John Glenn, Divine Child, and Chelsea. Their next game in the state championship was against Chelsea, who had previously beat Corona in the state quarterfinals 5-4. Lakeshore ended up beating Chelsea 7-1 that game.
And he grounds it to short. Tebow up with it, and the Lakeshore Lancers are moving to the state championship game on Saturday. A 7-1 win over Chelsea to advance.
27 years, I understand, since you've been to a state finals.
27 years, yeah.
What is it about this year's team that enabled you to get back?
This year's team, we live with it all year. We have a chain that's 20 links in it, and every link represents either a coach or a player, and that's what they are. They're a unit, and they play as a unit, and when they're firing on as a unit, they play well, and the chemistry is just unbelievable, second to none with this group. And they just believe. They just believe that they're winning. And, you know, the attitude at practice is fun. The attitude of the games is a little bit more serious, but I don't think I've ever had a group like this one.
We were so close as a team, and so everything we did, you know, we were there for each other. And so we had each other's backs at all times, because we would run through a wall for each other, not just the players, but the coaches. And I think that was just made us so special, because we were so together as a unit that we were able to, you know, do everything so well, because we were doing everything as a team.
They were heading their way to the championship, playing against Bay City John Glenn. After fighting hard all season, the Lakeshore Lancers were in the state championship game for the first time in 27 years.
One of those games were like, yeah, we got a chance to win this game. And we had Max on the line, you know, or Max on the mound, you know, a senior, someone we looked up to, and so we felt pretty confident.
I was very confident in Max in 2017, as I was very confident in the whole team going in the state championship game in 2017. We had so many kids that year step up, show up in big spots, big moments. You never knew who was the best players on our team.
Pitching the final game was definitely nerve-wracking. It was also a lot of fun. It was stressful as well, because it was a 1-0 game. And so the whole time, like, just one swing of the bat could change the entire game. So that was definitely stressful. And the way I was giving up all my hits was Coach Nate kept calling a shake-off fastball, so I would shake the catcher off and then throw a fastball. He did that the whole game, so I was actually getting super mad at him. And so that came into play with the final pitch, because he called a shake-off curveball, and so it kind of like threw off what the batter wanted to do the whole time. And so just after that pitch, it was kind of like slow motion a little bit, watching him swing through the ball, and then everybody just stormed on top of me. May have got a couple elbows in the face from Tony, but other than that, it was sweet.
And once we got the first couple innings, you know, our offense didn't really do much. But right when Sean hit that triple to left center, we knew, you know, that we won that game. I mean, we hadn't even scored. It was still 0-0, but we still knew we won that game because, you know, just the emotion. And then Wheels, Ryan Remus, hit a sac fly and brought him in. We're up 1-0.
With Max Gation as a starting pitcher for Lakeshore and Alex Dingy pitching for Bay City, both teams knew the game would be a pitching duel more than anything. And it was. Both pitchers pitched a complete game. But in the end, Gation's complete game shutout pretty much won the game for Lakeshore. In the bottom of the third was Sean Branch on third after a triple. Ryan Remus went up to the plate. He hit a sacrifice fly that brought Branch home for the first and only run of the game. That one run and Max Gation's outstanding pitching was just enough for Lakeshore, sliding past Bay City for the state championship.
Fisher trying to keep it alive in the bottom of the seventh, or top of the seventh, excuse me. Here's the pitch. Slow curve struck him out. The Lakeshore Lancers, for the first time in 27 years, will wear the crown of state champion, this time in Division II. Max Gation with a shutout performance and a 6-hitter over 7 innings of work. And here's the strikeout to end the ball game. Celebration for Lakeshore. And a 1-0 win for the Lancers.
It was so special, you know, all game, you know, there was the added adrenaline and different things like that. You know, we were just ready. We wanted to win that game, and I think I don't want to say we wanted to win that game more, but I mean, we had the fan base behind us. You know, we had so many fans at that game, and I knew we were going to win that game. I didn't say it. I didn't want to jinx it or anything, but I mean, everything behind that game. I mean, it was so special to be able to just first play in that game, but then to win it. I mean, There's no better feeling in the world than winning a state championship.
2018 brought a totally different attitude. Expectations were high. Everybody was back. A lot of us had been there, and then we went through some adversity throughout the year. And in 2018, we lost our last 2 games of regular season. And I think the turning point that year was winning districts in Dowagiac.
Edwardsburg was ranked first in the state, and Lakeshore played them the week before districts. Neither team wanted to show their best players before the big district game, but they split in a doubleheader. Districts were big for Coach Nate. The Lancers' biggest competition here would be Edwardsburg, who's ranked first in the state. They would play in the first round. They would win 5-2.
I remember we all jumped out of the truck, and we were late because we were hitting, so Edwardsburg was there first. Mm-hmm. And I remember just all of us getting out of the bus, and Edwardsburg stopped. They were having hitting practice on their field. And I remember they just stopped, and they just all looked at us, and right then and there, they knew they had to take down the reigning state champs, and I just could tell. Even though they were ranked higher, it was our game. Third base coach Matt Kime came up to me and he's like, "Don't be nervous. I think you're nervous. I can tell you're nervous." And then I hit a double off the wall, and then I went and told him, I was like, "I'm not nervous." Mm-hmm. From there, we just rattled off and went on and won districts.
The next game, they played Dowagiac, easily blowing past them 12-1. In the regional games, Lakeshore would play Sturgis in the first round and beat them 6-1.
The Thursday before the game, I was in ER with food poisoning, and so the whole infield got shifted around, and I think, where were you playing? Second?
I was at second.
Second, everything was a question until...
So we had to, have a whole new game plan, all new stuff.
And then we show up Saturday morning, and Coach comes up to me, he's like, "Are you ready to play?" And I told him, yeah.
The regional finals would be a little bit tougher for them. With a win of only 2-0, the Lancers went up against the Grand Rapids West Catholic.
We knew when we won that game, you're back to the journey of making it to Michigan State.
I go up to our shortstop, Trey Tebow, and every time a new inning would start, I'd say, "Nobody out, got to get the first one first." And as soon as I said that, Trey comes up to me, he's like, "I'm playing for you right now." And I started crying at second base. And as soon as that brotherhood we had, there's nothing that was going to stop us from winning another state championship.
Lakeshore beat the Falcons 4-3. Starting pitcher Joel Brawley kept them to just 2 runs until the 6th inning when they added another run. Then Brawley's cousin Connor came in and closed the game out. The Lancers jumped to an early lead, scoring 2 runs coming from a single that pushed both runs in with 2 outs. The Lancers scored their other 2 runs in the 2nd and 5th.
That regional championship post-win was probably just as good as the feeling as close to the semi or final game.
No, because to end the regional championship, Trey and I turned a double play.
Yeah, that was the best double play we've ever turned.
And the whole bench just comes out and surrounds me, and I remember I got a picture of me and Ali having a hug.
Huge hug.
It was emotional. It was an emotional win.
Now the Lancers would have to play one of the better teams in the championship, Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Last year, the Lakeshore baseball team won a state championship for the first time since 1990. Now they're looking to go back-to-back. The Lancers have made their way to the semi-state finals that will be taking place tomorrow. It hasn't been easy getting back to this point. The team struggled a little bit early on in the season. Then they started to gel once it got a little bit closer to the postseason. Lakeshore knows the target has been on their back all year, but they've embraced that challenge as they hope to get that shot to compete for another state championship after tomorrow.
If we got through to tomorrow, I think it's just one more step, tomorrow's a big game. That's a huge test for us tomorrow. And last year we didn't run into a private school like this, and this year, we're not really thinking about Saturday's game. We're thinking about tomorrow's game, and we know what's ahead of us is going to be tough.
I think it'd be great. I'm excited. I want to get there, and I want to be going back to back. That's a really big goal and really big. That'd be really good for this town, really good for this team, and I'm really excited. I think we can do it.
Lakeshore faces Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the Division II semi-state final. It'll be at 9 in the morning at Drayton McLean Stadium at Michigan State.
State semifinals.
That game I remember we were running up, and we had to wait like 20 minutes, and I was in my pajamas after waking up.
It's like 5 in the morning.
And it's dark, and we're waiting by the road 20 minutes for Buddha or someone to come.
To show up so we can listen to our song, Spirit in the Sky.
And
it's pitch black out. I remember everyone had their phone out. They were taking a picture of the sky. Pre-state semis. They were all posting that.
And then we all go out there, lay down. Nothing special happened that time, but and we go.
It's 5 in the morning. We're all tired already.
There's houses right behind us. Probably hearing.
We're blasting this song.
Spirit in the Skies obviously became a big thing, big part of our Lakeshore program. And 2 years ago in 2017, after every practice, Spirit in the Sky came on. And that year we had a lot of family members that either a coach or a player or a manager lost, either if it was a grandparent or a father. And, so we started hearing this song every day at the end of practice, and we knew we were pretty good in 2017. If our schedule went in 36 games, that was ultimately the most successful team that we've had. Maybe not the best, but and you saw it coming, and then all of a sudden at practice, Spirit in the Sky started playing every day at the end of practice. If it didn't come on, we'd have Ryder, our manager, go play it. Well, then when we started having to go on road trips for the state run, we'd always meet at the field, and we would have our pep talk, so to speak. Everybody understanding what we were going to do that day. And at the end, we'd all lay on the carpet and stare at the sky and just crank up Spirit in the Sky, and after that, it was game time.
This would turn out to be a competitive matchup, with no runs scored. In a stalemate, both teams had their best pitchers on the mound. The Lancers with Connor Brawley, who threw 7 1/3 innings. Orchard Lake St. Mary's would have Michigan commit Logan Wood on the mound, who would throw 8 2/3 innings.
Knew we had Connor Brawley on our mound, our ace. They had their ace.
They had their 2 aces pitching, both lefties, and I remember first at bat, because I'm the first lefty to come up, and he throws me 4 straight balls, so I go tell our next lefty, Jared, he can't throw to a left-handed hitter being a left-handed pitcher.
He threw a shutout, walking only 3 batters and allowing only 2 hits. The Lancers brought in sophomore relief pitcher Ali Carmody. In the 9th inning, St. Mary's had runners on first and second with 1 out, and St. Mary's was at top of the lineup. The count was 3 balls and no strikes. The only runs to be scored in the game would come from the Lancers in the 10th inning, where the Lancers would score 3 runs. One came from a shallow pop-up, dropping in right field. Another run came from a sacrifice bunt bobbled by the St. Mary's catcher. The third came from a safety squeeze laid down from senior Joel Brawley.
It was the 10th inning, and Bray was leading off. I was on deck, and Ali was in the hole.
I remember Bray just smoked this ball.
And then first pitch, I lay a bunt down first. Bray's on second. I'm on first. Nobody out. Ali comes up. I think we did.
There was a pass ball.
Pass ball.
So now the runners are at third and second. I got a 1-0 count, and I'm just I'm trying to hit this ball as far as I can in the air. So
Bray can tag up,
and we got that one. We need that 1 run. So I remember I was swinging out of my shoes on this next pitch. I didn't care where it was. I was swinging as hard as I possibly could. I just remember I saw it come in. I mishit it, but I swung so hard that it just got
that ball had so much backspin and tail on
it. And the infield was in because they wanted to make the play at home if I hit a ground ball. So I hit this ball shallow.
It would have been routine if shortstop was playing where he was, but it was a perfect triangle of the center fielder and the left fielder and shortstop right there, and I dropped in between, and Bray was scored, and I moved to third.
That was the game right there.
Kobe comes up for a pinch hit, and it's a pass ball, and I steal home, and I just remember sliding head first into home plate.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even close.
No,
it
wasn't even close.
Right in.
Making that statement that we're back,
it's
like
done.
That's
us. We're going to state now.
The Lancers would go on to the finals after holding St. Mary's to 0 runs in a grueling 2.5-hour game. The Lancers would play Saginaw Swan Valley.
All right, so
the morning of. I always talk morning.
The morning.
Same time. 5 a.m.
5 o'clock. We're got to be at the baseball field, and it is horrific rain.
Pouring down rain.
Our turf field was flooded, but we have to listen to Spirit in the Skies and lay on our backs.
I've got these Crocs on with my game socks on, and my socks are soaked. And Buddha's like, nope, get out there.
I got a cut off baseball shirt on, my
freezing
pajamas
cold.
on, and it's about 50 degrees and it's pouring and it's time to go.
Pouring.
And we just laying in that rain,
looking up in the sky, and just the
brutal.
rain pelting you in the face. It was so worth it, though.
And then after that, I mean, we're all giving each other hugs in the rain, and it was like a picture movie event.
Lancers started senior Joel Browley on the mound. He threw a shutout until the 5th inning. Swan Valley started Brian Ross on the mound. Ross only threw 3 innings and allowed 3 runs. Swan Valley had 5 pitchers on the mound this game. He also expanded the scoreless streak to 27 innings. The Lancers started off fast, scoring 2 runs in the 1st inning and scoring 2 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th.
And then the 1st inning we come in, we score like two runs.
It was over.
And as soon as we scored 2 runs in the 1st inning, there was no fear.
Swan Valley wouldn't score any runs until the 5th inning. The Lancers brought up sophomore Ollie Carmody to close out the game.
And then we were playing in the finals, and they started rallying with 2 outs.
And I throw this pitch down the middle, and their 4-hitter, I think, just ropes the ball to the fence. Runners were on 1st and 2nd. They both scored. Now there's a runner on 2nd, and now they're only down by
3 or something.
Down by 3.
And I remember I come up, I asked the umpire for time, and I'm like, okay, Ollie, you have 1 out. You pitched the whole semifinal game, the last 3 innings, and you got through that, and this is a way worse team. The next at bat, he throws 1, the kid hits a dinker to him, and we win the state championship.
Here it comes. Curveball nubbed out in front of the mound. Carmody will underhand toss to first, and Lakeshore has repeated as the Division II champion. Carmody is mobbed on the first base line.
Saginaw Swan Valley would only score 3 runs total, scoring the other 2 in the 7th inning. Lakeshore scored a total of 6 runs, historically winning the finals for the 2nd straight year.
I remember the walk to the ceremony where you get the medal and you get the trophy.
Just everybody would swarm you.
Yeah.
People you didn't know were like, hey, Cam, I can't believe you did this, or Ollie, way to throw that, and you had no clue.
You get interviewed by people. Oh, it was great.
I mean, that's quite a run there. Winning the state championship number 1. You know, I don't think we were over number 1 celebrating number 1. And people asked, how's it feel to be a state championship? And it was just, or being a state champion. And it just never really sunk in. And then before it really settled in, I think for anybody who was involved, we won another one. So, you know, people ask me in 2018, how's it feel? Has it sunken in to be a state champ and back-to-back state champs? And I say, no, 2017 really hasn't sunken in for us. And celebrating those 2 state championships will last a lifetime.
We had great fan support. Anytime we went to move on in the MHSA tournament, we had great support and followers and big crowds that would support our kids, and not just families and students. It was the community, and we have people that travel and call into the office and make sure of game times and everything, and they want to know for sure where we're playing, what time, and it's just great to see the support that we have here in our athletic program and for our baseball program too, in terms of when you win 2 state titles, you have a lot of people that want to be a part of that, and the support from our community has been outstanding.
The Lakeshore baseball team has passed down their commitment to excellence, earning state championship titles in 1990, 2017, and 2018. Now 29 years since Lakeshore baseball has originally won a state championship, the baseball program has continued to grow and thrive. Every single drop of blood, sweat, and tears that Lakeshore baseball players have shed all over there are credited to Lakeshore High School and its tight-knit community. Lakeshore High School is the epicenter of the quaint town of Stevensville, where the narrow streets wind through farms and along Lake Michigan. Although Michigan winters pound snow under the barren baseball fields, sports fans remember that once spring arrives, the warmth of the town's hearts will eventually melt it away. Dust is shaken off of the baseball gloves, cleats are put on, and there's only one thing on the minds of Lakeshore Lancer baseball players: taking it home.